Here's how the halo effect is probably ruining your life in a myriad of small ways. And there's two ways that it does it. The first is you as the person who's falling victim to the halo effect as an observer. This is when we assume that because someone is great at sports or is a great musician, that they're worth listening to on any other given topic, which is a complete fallacy. People need to prove their competence through an earned reputation if they're going to give advice or policy recommendations of any kind. Because, and this has only dawned on me as I've gotten a bit older, a bit more well-read, solving any problem, being an expert at any given thing is so hard and it takes so long. The idea that a basketball player or a rock star or even a politician who specializes in another area would know anything about a given issue, anything about another skill, is completely ludicrous. Because to be an expert in, like, let's say, a branch of physics, you need to devote your entire life to it now. Right now, to be on the cutting edge of something, to be well educated in politics, science, anything, you need to have such a vast knowledge of the current level of research, current statistical methods, new findings that are coming in all the time. You need to devote yourself to it. So most people that talk on most subjects have no idea what they're talking about, and they're going off old information, and they're pleased to hear themselves talk simply because they've had a success in another area that's given them some kind of platform. So that's one way. Basically, this is what is causing you to read gossip magazines, to watch celebrity interviews, beyond just the idea of, oh, like, I like their music, so I kind of want to know their psychology behind the songs. Obviously, that's fine. But when you're actually going to them as any kind of authority beyond songwriting, if they're a songwriter, and basketball, if they're a basketball player, this is you falling into a ridiculous human trap that probably came from, the ancient past when we needed to, it was beneficial for us to lock in to a high status person and be led by them as the chief of our tribe. We couldn't have everyone just thinking that they're the authority. We couldn't have everyone questioning every decision back then, because how would we hunt? How would we decide where to go? We needed to have a leader for our 150 group tribe, but we don't live in that world anymore. So now this is hurting us. Now, the other way it might be hurting is not with celebrities, but with people that people that even just an attractive person who's entered your world a bit, or you see walking down the street, you are going to place a higher significance on everything they do, on every signal they give you, even though there's no reason, simply because they're attractive or simply because they're charismatic, that they are a better judge of you or a more important judge of you than anyone else walking down the street at that time. I mean, it's just so obvious, that kind of antsiness you can feel if you're around someone you're attracted to, even if they're just your barista. Consider the way you make your order if the barista is just some old guy versus if it's an attractive woman. Don't you kind of maybe question your order a little bit? Or maybe, hopefully, you move past that and you remember doing this when you were young, like a teenager, where now all of a sudden you're pinging off that person, wondering what they think, and maybe even considering, oh, do I like that coffee? Maybe I like this other coffee more so. And you're kind of tricking yourself, because this is the most insidious part of the halo effect. You don't know really that the halo effect exists. You don't consider it when you're making a decision. You just think that you actually like that person. You just actually hear what they're saying as smart. You don't filter it through, oh, they're attractive, so I'm nodding along and I'm finding them funny. You literally find their jokes more funny. You seriously think that their babbling about politics is insightful. Why? Because of the bone structure in their face. It's just absurd, but it's something that is extremely powerful. Just look at the whole industry around watching what celebrities say, watching what they do, analyzing what they might mean. All of that is because we think pretty bone structure, pretty voice, nice muscles, expressive face equals intelligent, which is ridiculous. Now, the other side of this is, if you're lucky enough to achieve success, is that you will now be the victim to the halo effect in the opposite direction, where you won't be able to get honest feedback from people because they will treat you nicely because you are high status, and they literally believe that what you're saying is clever because unconsciously they know, oh, well, if I please this high status person, that could mean more status for me, more benefits for me. And so then there's the George Lucas effect, where because now you're a rich billionaire who created something amazing 20 years ago, no one will question you, and so the new movies you make are terrible. We don't want this to happen to us. We don't want to be surrounded by yes men, but it's very, very hard to avoid it when you're highly successful, because everyone, even if they don't start as that, becomes a yes man, because you are the point through which all resources flow through, and you are probably the most interesting person that they know. So how could they not see you as the authority? Human beings are wired to find like a kind of tribal authority and latch onto them. How could they resist that with you? You need to find a very special group of people to avoid that, which means it's going to be hard to even prevent moral decay as you get away with more and more and no one questions you, as well as artistic decay if you're creative, which is one benefit of being a beginner in any given field. Like right now, this channel has 2 subscribers. So I know for sure how good my videos are, because there is no halo effect around me at all. In fact, there's a negative effect where people see the 2 subscribers and they think, well, then this channel can't be good, can it? So they're being highly, highly critical. So I know now if a video blows up, if a video does well, it was purely based on the quality of that video, because there is nothing about me really that is going to like bolster the subjective quality of what I'm putting out there and make people like me, even if the quality is actually very poor. So that's nice. You get honesty back at the beginning, which is why most artists' early works, most businessmen's early projects, they learn a ton from, and then they hit their initial success. And then it's a slow decay from there, because they get bogged down in kind of you can almost think of it like a medieval court. You get surrounded by sycophants, cronies, people who their survival strategy is latching onto you and following what you say. And they're not going to deviate from that strategy because they have nothing else to default to that could make them rich. Think about like a rapper's posse. Like, what are a rock star or a rapper's posse's other options? They have none. So no matter how high the cost is, even if they have to bury the body for a guy, they're going to stick with him. They're going to tell him he's great, no matter how bad the new album is, because they don't want to be the one to stick their necks out and risk their status in the group just to preserve like the group's long-term survival, because the group's long-term survival in this case would like rely on more good albums being released and that person growing more and more famous. It all gets very, very complicated and speculative, but the point is, evaluate the people you meet and the people that you have parasocial relationships with, like celebrities, purely on what those people have achieved and what you think they are an authority to talk about. Do not accept them as charismatic or intelligent instinctually, because your instincts in this case are absolutely lying to you. And if you're a success, do not listen to the people around you unless you have carefully filtered them to be the most like integrity having, the most even kind of prickly and throw stuff in your face they don't ever want to listen to. Those people might be worth listening to if you're successful, because everyone else is going to try to please you because they think they can get something out of it, or because they're just instinctually seeing everything you do as great because of your pre-existing status. That's all.